Madam Speaker, I rise to add my contribution on this important ministerial report this morning. Firstly, I'd like to begin by correcting some of the mistruths the member for Gwadja said at the beginning of his spiel just then. I'd like it noted on the record that last night an email was sent to the opposition leader, to the opposition government whip, to the independents and the crossbench, stating that today we will have a 2025 federal budget by leave ministerial report. Now, Madam Speaker, I can't control the inner workings of the team on that side, but we fulfilled our obligation. This morning, they gave it by leave. We didn't have to suspend standing orders because his party, the opposition agreed by leave that we would be able to do this ministerial report. So if they don't communicate with the future opposition leader, I can't do anything about that, Madam Speaker. I do know we did send it also to the opposition leader email, which I'm hoping member for Gwadja has access to by the end of the year. But until then, Madam Speaker, I can't help if that his three colleagues don't talk to him. I can't change that fact, Madam Speaker. The other thing too I'd like to point out is that we have 3 federal members for the Northern Territory within the Labor Party, and it is incredibly disappointing to see the lack of investment in the Territory coming down from the Federals. We are an important strategic part of Australia. We have a significant per capita proportion of Indigenous Australians, and yet we're just not seeing that investment flow. It's very disappointing to see today, they'll get up and say, we're playing politics. Well, Madam Speaker, when I'm in this chamber, I represent the people of Goyder and I represent Territorians. Now, Madam Speaker, the Country Liberal Party, the party I am proud to be of, that comes third. The people of Goyder come first, the Territory second, political parties come third. And it's incredibly disappointing to see on that side of the chamber, they're going to get up and they're going to defend their federal colleagues who aren't fighting for them, who aren't fighting for the Territory, and instead they're just going to say, oh no, it's magical. Madam Speaker, a $236, I believe that's the number, pay tax cut, that doesn't even come this financial year, which is $5 a week. It's not a cost of living savings measure that's going to make a difference in our remote communities, in the Territory. It's not going to change anything. $150 off a power bill, Madam Speaker. Now, I love my aircon, Madam Speaker. My partner loves putting all 3 on in the house. But my power bill, $150, doesn't scratch the surface to my power bill, Madam Speaker, and it doesn't change anything across the Territory. And if these are the cost of living measures that are coming down, they're completely out of touch with ordinary Australians and Territorians, and it's just not good enough. And I'd love to see more investment in the Territory. $200 million being announced for a road, which is an 80-20 split with the Territory, without consultation with the Territory. Madam Speaker, what about the Arnhem Highway? What about the Vic Highway? What about the Barkly Highway? What about any of our roads out to remote communities? When will the money flow to see the Territory thrive? When will the supporting infrastructure come down so that we are able to generate more own source revenue? Why isn't the federal government, if they're going to throw money away, almost the same amount of money that's coming to the Territory from the federal government is going on one highway in Queensland? Madam Speaker, they don't care about the Territory. They don't want to see us thrive, and it breaks my heart knowing that the Northern Territory has broadly been represented by Labor, with the seat of Lingari and the seat of Northern Territory prior to that, for decades under Warren Snowden, now under Marion Scrimgeour, and I've enjoyed seeing Marion. I actually have a lot of personal respect for her, and the 3 times I've seen her in the last 4 years, I've said hello. And Madam Speaker, I'd love to see more of them out and about and actually working hard for the Territory. And Madam Speaker, we all need to realise that we are Territorians first, political parties third or fourth on our list of priorities. And I'd love to see the member for Gwadja get up and say, hey, you know what? We could have gotten more. You know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to go ring Marion. I'm going to ring Millendaria. I'm going to ring Luke, and I'm going to say, hey, Luke, haven't seen you in 2 years, but can we have a chat about the budget? That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see investment coming. I wouldn't even mind if they pork-bellied it a little bit. Our senator shows up to Parliament and fights hard for the Territory, but we do acknowledge she is in opposition.
Okay, silence.
We do acknowledge she is in opposition, and we have 3 people, including the Minister for Indigenous Australians, within the federal Parliament, who comes from the Northern Territory, who's meant to be a fierce advocate. Instead, she's threatening the Treasurer on the radio. Madam Speaker, I love the Territory, and I think everyone in this chamber should reflect on their love for this place, because it is a wonderful place, but we do need help from our friends in Canberra. And it'd be incredibly great if they could realise that we are an important strategic part of the future of this country. We are the gateway to Asia. We are the solution to our gas problems in the country. We want to keep the lights on around Australia. We want to work with them. I really don't have a lot of love for Canberra as a city in its own self. It is far too cold and too roundabouty for my likings. But, Madam Speaker, there are lots of good people down there in the other territory, and I'd love if they acknowledged our presence up here. Madam Speaker, not that it's particularly relevant, so please bear with me, but I discovered that people in the ACT also call themselves Territorians the other day, and it shocked me. Now, Madam Speaker, but it feels weird. But, Madam Speaker, I just want to reiterate once again that the budget was passed, I believe it was about 7 o'clock our time, which is after the 6 p.m. deadline for us to lodge a ministerial report the normal way. And, Madam Speaker, it was communicated last night to the opposition leader, to the opposition whip, to the independents and crossbench, including yourself, Madam Speaker, that we would do a ministerial report by leave, and that leave was granted. We did not need to suspend standing orders. So the first half of the member for Guadja's speech is a complete fabrication, and unfortunately, it's disappointing to see that amongst the four of them, they can't even communicate. But Member for Guadja, when you have access to the opposition leader email at the end of the year, you'll be getting these emails. Thank you, Madam Speaker.